Hey everybody, it's Tanya Smith here of Get Noticed with Video Live. This is our live stream show that we do every week on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Central. I am really thrilled, as always, to be here with you and to share another episode. What I try to do is to basically simplify streaming for service providers like me, coaches, consultants, trainers who are basically trying to create more conversation spaces so that you can meet with clients and build your brand online. So I am super thrilled to be here and I hope that you are too. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about a topic that is a little controversial at times, but I'm going to give you both sides of the coin. Should you use captions or not when it comes to your Facebook Live videos? That's typically where we talk or focus on is Facebook Live, but I also have my viewers that are in the YouTube space as well. So the tips that I'm going to share with you are going to focus on Facebook, but you can certainly use and apply some of the same techniques and reasons behind captions to wherever you choose to stream. So I'm going to go ahead and do a short intro video, and then I'm going to make sure that I welcome our guests and my community over in the VIP room. It's wonderful to see you. I see a few of you that are here right now, but we'll do that in just a quick second. So I'll be right back, and we'll talk a little bit more about captions and whether or not you should use them. And if you should, why on earth would you do that with your videos? We'll talk about that next. Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Tanya Smith here, and this is Get Noticed with Video Live. Let me say hello. Miss Pam is watching from YouTube. Hey, wonderful, wonderful. We are starting to build our YouTube presence, although we've built much of our audience using Facebook Live. So I'm going to teach you some techniques and some reasons why you might want to consider captioning, especially when it comes to Facebook Live. And I'm also going to do a very brief demo for you of how to actually start uploading your own captions for your live streams. So let's dive in, and I will say hello if you say hello back. All right. Let me know where you're hailing from. If you're watching on Twitter, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, and make sure you sign up to follow us and get notifications every time we go live. Just click the bell wherever you're watching from. If you're watching on Facebook, watch. You can find me at tanyasmith.live. If you're watching over on YouTube, youtube.com/Tanya Smith, you'll find me there. All right, here we go. So the first thing I want to talk about, and this is what I always do whenever we are delivering these live trainings, because I like to see them as kind of like a miniature training, right? Whenever we do this, one of the things that's really key is to tell you why, what's the importance of the topic that I've selected for the evening. So I want to give you some background and share a little bit as to why it even matters that captions are a topic of discussion. Oh, and good, good, good. Hey, Miss Sherry, it's good to see you, lady. Oh, let me do this too. I have to give a shout out to those of you who are in the challenge because we have Let's Go Live Week challenge going on. And so we've got several people who are participating in the challenge this week. I just want to give you a shout out and look forward to you going live on this week, Thursday. So can't wait to see all the success coming from that. Meanwhile, let's dive into our topic. And then once we get past that, I'm going to share a few little updates about things that we have coming up with you. Deal? All right. So if you're not in our community, our VIP room is located over in Facebook. Our group is called Get Noticed with Video VIPs. It's an incredible community of folks, mostly service providers who are also looking at ways to be on camera and to use live streaming to grow your own business. So I am encouraging you to go get connected. Yes, yes, yes. There's my friend Sonia. And Pam said, woohoo, yes. All right. So I see several people that are watching from different locations. Before I continue, let me just let you know I always appreciate you and I thank you for showing up. Okay. let's dive in. So I want to talk about captions. And so as I mentioned already, captioning is a thing, right? So if you're on my email list and you saw my email, I talked about it being a thing. Well, the thing is about captions, first of all, what are they? They are the words. Sometimes they're called subtitles. Subtitles and captions are located in a specific section of your video. When you're doing a video, a live video, and you go back to make an edit, I'm going to show you in a few minutes, you'll find a little section that's called subtitles and captions. So captions are when you see the words going across the screen that are basically transcripts of your voice. Whatever you're saying out loud, as I'm speaking right now, when we get done with this video and I add captions, you'll see that the words are going across the screen. And usually it's because people have video on mute. Now, let me give you some statistics and some information about Facebook Live in particular, because again, I want to focus on that. That's my specialty. I'm not quite as sure about the stats when it comes to YouTube yet, but at least in 2016, at the time that they were doing statistics and sharing some metrics related to the amount or the number of people who are actually watching their videos muted, about 85% of the time when people first saw your video, it was on mute. Part of the reason, I mean, there's lots of reasons, I'm sure. Just think about your own environment, but a lot of us have sound sensitive environments. And so it's more likely that we're going to have the default for our Facebook live stream set to have the sound off. You do have the ability, as someone who's viewing content on Facebook in particular, you do have the ability to change that setting to make it default to where the sound is on, but most people don't do that. So at that time, 2016-ish, 85% of the folks that would turn on video were watching with no sound. Now, what I also discovered as I was doing a little research on this is, in addition to that, there's some other statistics, but I'm going to share not only statistics, but also some practical reasons why you want to be thinking about this, okay? Let me see if I can pull those up, because for some reason they disappeared on my screen. Here we go. All right. A lot of people like to follow along and read while they're listening to the sound of your voice. So those folks will turn on captions at the same time, but that's not typically what I'm seeing and what I do. If I'm in a sound sensitive environment, which means that I'm in a place where, let's say, work, right? Or you happen to be in a quiet spot where you're watching Facebook or you're kind of going through your feed, you don't want things to just pop up and have all this like extra loud sound and noise. You don't even know what kind of sounds could potentially be coming up out of some of these videos that show up, to be honest with you. So again, most of us default to having it on mute. Now, a couple of things that I want you to really kind of pay attention to in terms of these stats I'm going to share with you. 80% of Facebook users react negatively to video ads that are auto playing with sound on. So from a marketing standpoint, when you think about video ads, advertising with video, if the majority of the folks that are watching and seeing those ads get that autoplay, again, they're kind of like, wait, I just defaulted and wanted everything to be sound off. I muted it for a reason. So they're going to have this negative reaction. So again, another reason that you need to be thinking about caption, although I'm going to break it down into 3 specific reasons in here just a second. Another thing that you really want to know, because I thought this was interesting, and let me give you the reason why I'm sharing this particular stat. The fact is, however you can get people to watch your video, the more you can increase the chances that someone's going to view your video, the better, right? So captions increase viewing time for Facebook videos by 12%. Yeah, so this was taken directly from a Facebook for Business study. Captions increase viewing time for Facebook videos by 12%. So I can give you all this information because I went and kind of did my homework. But the reason why this is relevant to you is because you want to think about what are ways that I can increase viewing time on my own videos. And if captioning may be a way for you to do that, why not do it? So let's talk specifically about some 3 reasons why I use it. And one of them in particular, I can't dive too deep here to talk about, but I'm going to give you some high level reasons why this particular one works. Let me give you one and two first. So, overall and in general, as I've already mentioned, captioning helps with visibility. And look at this. Sherry said, I agree with that stat. I want the option to mute. So do I, Sherry. Like, I don't want it on. Let's see. Reading and listening at the same time is how I cut off 6 months of getting my degree. Yes, yes, yes. And maybe sneaking video while working. And then Sonia also said, I'm a muter and didn't realize it. I watch an entire video. So basically, all of you are so far just affirming what we already have heard from Facebook itself, right? They've done the studies. And so you're kind of confirming, hey, Miss Elisa, it's good to see you, lady. All right. So here's the deal. You kind of get a feel for why captioning might be a good idea, but ultimately the overall reason why is because you want to do whatever you can to increase the possibility, the chance that somebody might actually watch your video. Even if they're not listening to it, they're watching. So here's what I'm going to share with you in terms of the 3 reasons why I believe in using captions. And then I'm going to show you a really quick demo as to where you add these captions, and I'll give you some ways that you can add them. Okay. So first of all, we've already said this. It allows people to watch on mute. So one of the benefits to you adding captioning, so adding those subtitles, adding the words across the bottom of your screen when you are doing video, is because it allows people to watch your video on mute. So they're more likely to pay attention, right? The second reason is that it makes video more accessible. Now, this is something that is really, I don't think we always think about it unless you have someone in your life who has a learning disability or a cognitive disability or a hearing disability. It may not be top of mind for you, but it's a real issue. And many people who have these cognitive, hearing, and learning disabilities, they too are interested in consuming content and consuming things that are relevant to their brand, to their business, to whatever it is they're trying to do. So don't rule them out. It's better if you can be more inclusive with your video content. And so captioning is another way for you to be able to do that. That's another reason, that second reason. Now, the third reason, which I promised I'd share with you, but we can't dive too deep just for sake of time. The third reason is that it gives you a repurpose option. So if you watch me for any length of time, you know that I am all about repurposing and creating shortcuts. It's all about streamlining. So simplify, stream, and serve. That's my motto, right? So if we're going to simplify, that means we're going to create this recorded video content that is high quality because you've taken time and you've put intention into it, and we're going to repurpose it. So a third benefit to you using captions is when you have gotten the transcription, which I'm going to show you in a second that you can do. When you've gotten the transcription of your voice from the video, then you can certainly use that in a number of different ways, not only as something to become a subtitle or caption feed into your video, but also you can use that to convert it into a blog post, to convert it into an article, for it to be something that's a downloadable lead magnet. There are all kinds of different ways that you can use the words that you spoke into video. Let me tell you this, I'm gonna be real with you. I used to hate writing blogs, but I knew I had to do it. And so in order for me to become more consistent with it, either I had to sit down and make sure that I mapped out that time, scheduled that time on my calendar to write. And I am a writer. I can write when I want to, but I prefer not to. I don't know if that's you. If that's you, put that in the comments. But what I did find is that I can talk. And so what I've been able to do as a result of doing more transcribing of my videos and turning the video into words is it's given me another pathway to creating a blog, because I can take those words from that transcript and now turn that or convert that over into a post that's in my WordPress site. So it gives you another repurposing option. So let's talk about, or let's do a demo, because I want to show you real quick how you can actually use captions inside of Facebook Live. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if we have any questions. If you got questions or comments, yes. And Sherry said, that is me. Yes, I can talk. So I can do a podcast, I can do a video, but I really just don't want to sit down and write it all out. You still are going to have to do some tweaking. That's you too, Marcia. You're still going to have to do some tweaking perhaps, right? But it gives you a head start. When you start out with the video, you can repurpose that in multiple ways, which we talk a lot about in my Repurpose Your Live video bootcamp. All right, so let's dive in. I'm going to do a share screen real quick here, and we are going to showcase a Facebook Live video. Now, here's what I'm doing. I'm going to show you exactly where you're going to go after you do your live. So you've done your live stream, and now you're going to go behind the scenes of your video that has already been published. It's been recorded, it's been published, it's out. What I typically do when we get done here on Tuesday nights, when we get done here, one of the first things I'm going to do is to go into the back end of my video. So right now, there's something a little funky going on with Facebook. So they're making you go through the Creator Studio to edit your videos. But when you first open up your video, so you open up the replay, over on the far right-hand side, there are 3 dots. You're going to click on those dots, and it's going to take you to Edit Video. When you go to Edit Video, it's going to eventually get you to the Creator Studio. And that's where I am right now, is in Creator Studio. And I'm getting ready to show you where inside of the video editor you can make this update for your caption. So let me blow it up so that it'll be bigger screen right here. I'm going to move my branding out of the way real quick here. So what you can see is that in here, and this is another video that was already published, what I've got are a couple of different things. First of all, the very first, let me do this. On the right-hand side, in case you're not familiar with this editor, you're going to have video details. That's initially what will pull up for you. What you're going to do is go below that until you see subtitles and captions, because that's what we're talking about tonight. So under subtitles and captions right here, you have an option of being able to auto-generate captions, okay? You can auto-generate captions here. Now, I don't know that I necessarily like this idea, and the reason for it is because auto-generating captions basically says that you're giving Facebook leeway to go ahead and assume that they know what you said. So depending on your dialect, depending on your speech patterns, all these different things could come into play, and it may or may not be that accurate. Now, I found that it's a lot more accurate to do auto-generating captions now than it was, say, a year ago or even 6 months ago, but it's still not going to be perfect. So one of the things that you're going to have to do if you do auto-generate captions, which, by the way, now they've added this thing to where you can turn on, you can click this checkbox right here, and you can turn it on so that all your future videos will auto-generate captions. When it does that, again, you're going to have to check for accuracy. Personally, I prefer to upload my own. And notice right here where it says use sub-rip, which you don't even have to know what that means. Just know that SRT files are what you need in order to upload your transcript or your captions for them to show up under your video. So let me show you kind of what this looks like, because I want you to kind of get an idea. As a matter of fact, let me think about this because I don't want to mess this particular one up. But let me do this real quick. I'm going to go into, there is a tool that I use, and this is the second way that you can actually generate or create your own caption file. I use something called happyscribe.com. happyscribe.com. So inside of HappyScribe, which I'm getting ready to log into my account, and I didn't want to share my personal information. That's why I took it off screen. But inside of here, you have, and I'm going to open it up for you now so you can see it. Inside, you will find that you have the option of being able to create your caption file here. The reason why I prefer using a third-party service versus doing auto-generating is, again, because of accuracy, because frankly, Facebook doesn't do an accurate job, or not accurate enough, in my opinion. When you do see the auto-generated file that's created by Facebook, you can go in and manually check it, fix any misspelled words, do all this extra manual work, but who wants to do that? But I'll give you a reason why you do want to do that. You want to, whatever transcript option you're using, whatever way you're using captions, you want to make sure that it's as accurate as possible, even if you're skimming and scanning to see the video after you've uploaded, because one disadvantage to using captions is if they're not accurate, if they're off from your lip sync, that is more likely to move people away from your video. So you do want it to be as accurate as possible. And I can be honest with you and tell you, I screwed that up just last week with one. I was so mad at myself because it was a video I uploaded to Pinterest. And it was like one of those old Kung Fu movies where my lips were moving one way and it was saying something totally different. You don't want that, because then you're more likely to turn people away. So let's talk a little bit about Happy Scribe. I want to show you what this looks like. Happy Scribe is pretty cool because what you can do when you create a workspace, so I've created different folders. So right now, this is my Facebook Live 2020 folder. You have a certain number of hours or credits that you can get depending on your plan. Something else I want to show you real quick is you also can add your own vocabulary. So if there's specific words that you want to make sure that it is accurately writing in your transcript, you can add those here. I've got a lot more I need to add, but those are the ones I have in there now, like your name, right? Sometimes we have odd names. I know that my name sometimes comes off in transcripts as though it is Candy instead of Tanya. So it was important to me to make sure that I had that there. Let me go back. I'm not trying to do that. Let me go to Facebook Live 2020. Okay, so in my Facebook Live 2020 file, this is what I wanted to show you. So what happens is when you upload a new file, you tell it subtitles, because this is what you want to load into your Facebook Live so that it is giving the words underneath your video. Subtitles is what you want. That's that SRT file I mentioned to you. So in here, where it is giving me an option to pull up a source file, what I'm going to do is basically give it a link. And I give it the link to the Facebook video. So I just choose public links, put in my video link, and then it automatically begins to upload the file so that it can transcribe it into subtitles. So what you end up seeing is this. Let me show you what this looks like. What you end up seeing is a final product that has your video. And you can also, by the way, pull these from YouTube just as well as you can from Facebook. And when it opens up your video, you can take it to different parts. That's not a great face, but hey, it is what it is. But you see right here on the right-hand side where it has words, it's because it's transcribing what I said. So I can scan in here, and it's so much more accurate than what you'll get from Facebook, or even if you're using YouTube's native auto generation for captions. So this is really cool because now I can download this file, and when I download the SRT file, it's going to give me a file that I can then upload back into my Facebook video. And when I upload that here, that's why you now see where it says added captions. There's a file right here. Okay, so I'm giving you this to say that there's a couple of different options and ways that you can go about adding captions. And the reason for adding those captions, by the way, if you create a file in a platform like Happy Scribe, The reason why that's beneficial too is because you can use those transcripts and those SRT files in other video platforms as well. Like I use Wave Video and a couple of other things, tools, where they're now allowing you to have captions. Vimeo allows you to use captions now, Wave Video, YouTube. You can take the same SRT file that you're pulling for your Facebook video and put it over into YouTube. If it's the same video and the same length, you want to make sure that the timeline is the same. So it should be exactly the same video. But when it does that, it's time stamping where you're saying different things so that it accurately shows the words across the bottom of the screen. Now, I know this is getting a little techie, but I'm sharing this with you because, again, the point is what you want to do is to create ways for yourself that your video is more likely to be watched. Okay. So the more you get into it, and yes, Christopher said, I want to watch this from the very beginning because I want to do this. Yeah, it is helpful for viewers. It's helpful for people who are watching your videos if they have captions at the bottom. So it's worthwhile to learn and to understand it. And I know I've gone through this super fast. And in some of our other courses and programs, we do a deeper dive and talk a little bit more about those SRT files and the proper naming and all that other stuff. But I hope I've given you a little bit of information and insight behind the scenes so that you know how this is done. So again, you can either auto-generate these captions within the platform that you're using. So YouTube gives you the ability to be able to do that. And Facebook, just where I was showing you, gives you the ability to do that too. You can auto-generate captions. Once you save it, once you save your video, after you've done that, what you'll find is that when you go back and try to look at that video without the sound on, or if you click on the little bottom, the block that says CC for closed captions, it's going to turn those words on. It'll take a few seconds. So give yourself a little bit of time for them to process once you've created that caption. But that's one way. And the second way is by using a third-party platform like HappyScribe. If you're interested in trying out HappyScribe, go to tanya.click/HappyScribe. That's my affiliate link. I use the tool myself. Love that one. Another one is otter.ai, OTTER.ai. That's not the one I use anymore, but I do enjoy using a third-party tool because it gives me so many other options. Oh, there was one other thing I want to show you inside of HappyScribe so that you can really kind of get a feel for this. In fact, here it is. Let me show this. Let's share my screen one more time before we get ready to wrap, and I'll do a quick recap. So in here, notice that most of these are blue, right? And I think a lot of these are going to be SRT files, but a few of them might actually be transcriptions. I think this is a transcription. So I'm going to show you the transcript. The reason why is because what I mentioned to you earlier, this is a transcript. When you do a transcript, now you can actually take this and convert it into your blog post, right? You can pull this over into your blog or use it in other ways. So when I mentioned the whole idea and the concept of you being able to repurpose your content, that's one of the reasons is that I'm using a third-party tool because I don't just want the SRT file. I want the transcript version as well. Okay. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'm scanning. Sonia likes both programs. Yes, you do, ma'am. I know that you're using both and that you liked Otter for some specific reasons. Yes, great information. People need to take your repurpose your video training. I know. I do a deeper dive there. I'm trying to get enough in without going overboard in our short time to get together. Yes, Sherry said, love me some Otter AI to help me talk my book. Yes. So for those of you who are talkers like I am, using some type of service that actually transcribes your voice and turns it into text, there's so many different benefits to being able to do that. But again, specific to captions for your videos, the reasons that we talked about, I'll go through them one more time just to recap. One, it allows people to watch your video on mute, and apparently that gives you some juice when it comes to Facebook, especially Facebook Live, probably YouTube as well. Two, it makes your videos more accessible to people who have disabilities. And then three, it gives you a repurpose option. So make sure that you're thinking through, if you're not using captions, why not? Does it seem too hard? Does it seem like another extra step? If so, outsource that part. But have someone regularly and consistently pull in these transcripts and pull in these SRT, the caption files, so that you have those words that show up at the bottom. All righty, folks, I'm double checking one more time and see if we have any pending questions. Please post your link. I sure will, sir. So Christopher is in my VIP room. I always appreciate him and all his experiences and knowledge, and everyone in that room. You all are amazing entrepreneurs. I'm so excited and thrilled that I get to be in your circle of influence. And I'm always thrilled that I get to come on and meet some of you new folks who are watching for the first time. If you want more tips to help you to simplify how you stream online, make sure that you get notifications. So click on the bell so that you can get notifications every time we go live. No matter what platform you're watching from, you can click the bell or follow us and you'll get notified. I usually go live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central. I'm also live and interacting in my programs as well as on my Facebook community. So wherever we can connect, I would love to meet you and help you simplify how you're streaming so you can serve more people. Thank you so much again. And I hope the rest of you who are watching the replay will type in hashtag replay so I can take a look and make sure that I acknowledge you even after the fact. I'm so glad you are inspired. I will make sure that I post that link, Christopher, so thank you for asking. Take care of yourselves. Please stay safe. And I will see you next week. Reminder for those of you who are in the community, the Facebook community, just know that we have community chat coming up this Friday morning at 8 a.m. In the chat this morning, not this morning, in the chat room Friday morning, I'm going to also explore with you the new Zoom features that I got. Some of you may have seen them and some of you may not. So if you have Zoom, if you have a subscription, go take a look and see if you see some new features in the background under video settings. They now have filters and they have a studio beta that is really interesting and some new extra added assets that you have for branding and for having a little bit of fun. So check it out. And if you don't have it, then I'll showcase this in the community on Friday morning when we meet. All right, everybody, have a good night.